So an insider leak is revealing a huge Blackrock ETF bazooka that is going to blow expectations out of the water. And so in this video, we're going to be talking about what's happening in the markets today for XRP, Fidelity, potential XRP ETF. You know what 21 shares has to say about this. Grayscale dropping Matic, adding AVAX and XRP, rebalancing their fund, and also the likelihood of a spot XRP ETF is in view amidst the Grayscale's latest move. And we have some clips to play with you guys about Bank of America. Will Bank of America use XRP for settlement? I think this is very interesting to dive into. Lots of powerful information to share with you guys on top of the charts on what's happening with XRP, what's happening with Bitcoin right now, and the rest of the crypto market. Are we going up further or are we going down? XRP sitting at 56 cents right now, pissing everybody off. And I think a telltale sign that something big is about to happen is the amount of people that are mad or frustrated because full-grown adults that are 50, 60, 70 years old, even 30 plus years old, still have not learned to manage their emotions and learn one word, and that's patience. So if you guys don't care about the short-term fluctuations and price volatility over the course of 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. We're talking about a little blimp on the scale of decades of overhauling the entire financial system. Then comment 777 if you're feeling blessed. Comment 777 if you're feeling bullish. If you are the eye of the storm, you're cool, you're calm, you're collected. And as always, grab the putter, take the like button, and just tap it in, sink the putt, give it a tippity tapperoo. We're doing it for grandma. We're beating the SEC as always, and we're buying her house back. Heck, we're buying the whole block up for grandma with XRP. Let's run it.
You would expect large institutions, financial institutions, certainly like Bank of America, to transact. I think it was actually quite timely and maybe fully intended that Ripple created and introduced this liquidity hub product. Because what I'd be doing if I were in Ripple's shoes today is I'd be integrating liquidity hub into the RippleNet product. So every user of RippleNet, like Bank of America, would simply port into liquidity hub as the means of obtaining and managing that XRP position that they need to work through ODL. Right? Liquidity hub is just a massive smart router engine. It has feeds to accounts that Ripple has opened across all the liquidity venues around the world. Basically, virtually every exchange where there is depth of liquidity, it has accounts at. So if I'm Bank of America, I become a liquidity hub customer, and on any given moment or where I need, pick a number, $1 billion worth of XRP to transact, I plug that into Liquidity Hub, and Liquidity Hub will break that $1 billion up into fractions and route them for execution and closing across all the exchanges to get the optimal average acquisition price for XRP. And then when I'm done using the XRP for ODL, I turn around and I go the opposite direction, and I have that same smart engine route my sell order and go back to cash. And that's what I want to do. Sell the XRP across all the venues to get the optimal price for Bank of America, right? And at no time do I ever have to be in a position where I'm actually taking XRP from Ripple itself. I'm doing it through all of these exchanges. And what Ripple will do in that instance is it'll be on an ongoing basis looking at the XRP available across all those exchanges worldwide and just distributing XRP through those exchanges. It will sell XRP into those exchanges to create supply.
So this is massive because when one major bank in the United States declares that they're using XRP for settlement, the chances of them all doing it is very likely because, the banks are all interconnected. And so the Bitcoin price, an XRP price has rebounded following the 2022 crash, pushing the price of Ethereum, XRP, Solana, the rest of the crypto market, gaming, artificial intelligence projects back above 1.6 trillion for the first time since early 2022. And as hype is building over BlackRock's led Wall Street push for a spot Bitcoin ETF, it sounds like a broken record. I know you guys are tired of hearing about that. And according to this image right here, hearing that we're expecting to get over the first hurdle of the last hurdles soon with an announcement very close to being close to before we're refinalizing with an updated update on the refiling soon. That's what it sounds like when you're listening to this type of news, right? Where you're like, okay, get over with it already. Gary Gensler needs to pull his head out of his ass and figure it out and move forward so we can get the clarity that we need. And an insider is leaking information revealing that BlackRock has readied a $2 billion bazooka if the spot Bitcoin ETF bid is approved. Now, in my video yesterday, I talked about how it's more likely $3 to $5 billion. And if we quote from what Matthew Siegel, who's head of digital asset research at Van Eck, said, he's saying that I heard from a pretty well-placed source that BlackRock has more than 2 billies lined up in week one, and new incremental flows from existing Bitcoin holders who are adding to positions. Now, that's a small chunk of change compared to how much these other funds are going to be adding and seeding and putting into their pots to add to the table. But I can't vouch for that, he said. But that's what everyone is doing, just making phone calls and trying to find the folks who can write checks into these products. And our estimates is that 2 billion happened in week one, and that would blow away our estimates. And so Van Eck was anticipating 2.5 billion in the first quarter of trading, a figure derived from past flows into the first gold ETF and adjusting by the US money supply. And we have a $40 billion market opportunity over 2 years based on similar analysis. And so if you guys are thinking about, what is really going to move these markets, more so than just speculation about people thinking that it's coming, well, it's the clarity of it actually being here to give these institutions, the green light to move all the 401k, the Roth IRA money into it. Because when someone has, let's say $10 billion, like not billion, $1 million, Bob has $10 million and they want to allocate $500,000 worth into Bitcoin. He's not just going to create a Coinbase account and go and buy $500K worth of Bitcoin and deal with the fees and self-custody if he doesn't understand that. No, he would have Grayscale, Van Eck, or BlackRock do that for him. And Grayscale Investments, which is a major US digital asset management firm, has reintroduced XRP to its digital large cap fund, hinting at a potential development related to an XRP ETF. Could that be coming post lawsuit leading into Bitcoin's halving? Grayscale also increased their exposure to Avalanche and re-added XRP to their fund. And XRP now constitutes 2.54% of GDLC's market capitalization, securing its place as the fund's fourth largest holding behind Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. So for people out there that are frustrated with XRP, I understand that completely. I mean, I've been holding this project for a long time. Most of you guys that are watching the videos have been holding it for a long time. It's pissing you off because all these others, you're comparing, right? It hasn't been doing bad. It's up 100% over the past year. It's up a 2x. It's not terrible. Of course, it's not the best when you're comparing to Bonk, a meme coin that's going to get destroyed, not be here 10 years from now. So if you're comparing to projects that are being manipulated by VCs like Solana, being pumped up by venture capital funds, and other projects like XRP, which is the only project that has the clarity, and you're comparing to that stuff, you got to be in this for the long haul. Sure, it's exciting to make short-term gains from other projects that are rallying. If you guys have watched any of the other videos on the channel that I've made, I've given you guys some really good picks that have done very, very well. If you're in our Telegram group, link in the description below. As always, not financial advice. I always tell you, don't buy, don't sell anything we talk about in our videos. I bring you the information. What you choose to do is up to you. But when you plug into our Telegram group, you guys will see some other projects that we've called, one of which was ICP. I mean, that one pulled from $4 to $5, a 3x. And so if you've just been sitting on XRP and you're not diversifying your portfolio into other projects, then you're just going to have to be patient here. You're going to have to shut up. You're going to have to take a nap, and you're going to have to relax a little bit. All right. So for me to complain about XRP would be stupid. When I see all these partnerships happening long term, I'm in it for the long term. I don't care what happens over the next month, 2 months. I don't care if XRP goes down to 30 cents. I'll probably buy more. I'm looking at 2030. That's what I'm looking at. And Grayscale's decision to reintegrate XRP into its digital large cap fund marks this pivotal shift since removing it back in January of 2021 due to the SEC's lawsuit against Ripple. So if XRP was a crap product, why would they re-add it? Let me know that in the comments below. So with this court ruling, why is XRP not surged? And is a potential spot XRP ETF possible? Well, of course, anything's possible. XRP being the only altcoin with clear legal standings in the US, I don't see why it couldn't happen. I mean, this would be the most likely altcoin that's next on the list other than Ethereum, because Ethereum would most likely be next. And then I think XRP would be the third or the fourth one. So the question looms as to why established asset management firms like Blackrock have not pursued the idea of an XRP ETF, especially considering the clarity around its regulatory status. And so speculation surrounding the ETF have been surging recently, triggered by false reports on a Blackrock iShares ETF, XRP ETF in November. This resulted in a temporary spike in XRP's value, but despite these rumors and recent XRP inclusion in Grayscale's fund, the asset management firm has not officially hinted at the launch of an XRP ETF. And so if people are saying it's confirmed, guys, it's not confirmed. And so when you look here on Fidelity, I actually created an account that you can see on the screen right here just to go and confirm this. And it's not an ETF, but it does says a Moon Ripple A XRP ETP, and so the difference between a ETF and an ETP is ETFs are a type of investment fund and are structured as open-ended investment companies or unit investment trusts. They represent ownership in an underlying portfolio or assets such as stocks, bonds, commodities, Bitcoin, or the specific crypto that the ETF is for. And so ETPs, on the other hand, are a broader category that involves various exchange trade products like exchange traded notes, exchange traded commodities, and exchange traded certificates. ETPs can track the performance of a specific asset, index, or benchmark, but may not necessarily represent ownership in the underlying asset. And so ETFs provide investors with direct ownership of the underlying asset held by the fund. So, a Bitcoin ETF, they would actually buy Bitcoin. An XRP ETF, they would actually buy XRP. And when you buy shares of an ETF, you indirectly own a portion of the assets within the ETF portfolio. So BlackRock owns it for you, but it's in, their management, and then you're just getting the benefits of the growth or the hurt locker of the decline of that asset. And so ETPs, especially ETNs and ETCs, do not provide direct ownership of Bitcoin or XRP. Instead, they're typically structured as debt instruments or derivatives that promise to pay a return based on the performance of the tracked asset or index. And so investors in ETPs have a contractual relationship with the issuer rather than ownership of the underlying asset. That's why ETFs, spot ETFs, are a massive deal. And looking at Bitcoin right now, we're officially within the window over the next 24 hours. So within the next 24 hours, so on the 8th all the way till the 10th, we're going to see some big news drop for Bitcoin. And so if the ETF gets approved, one or multiple all at the same time, I would expect Bitcoin's price to break upwards of $45,000 to $46,000, potentially even higher than that. If they get denied, right, we're going to crash. We're going to come all the way down to 41,000, maybe consolidate, and we'll see what happens there. But then I would expect us to drop even further down to 37, 38K relatively quickly if they get denied. So it's anyone's guess, but there's been news popping out there about, a higher likelihood of an approval. So that's why people are still in the markets right now. That's why we saw, Bitcoin rebound out of this fake out wick from that company that nobody's ever heard of, saying that they're going to be denied, brought Bitcoin down to 40K. Now Bitcoin's sitting at 43K right now. But this is really interesting. This was posted saying that someone just sent Satoshi's Genesis wallet $1.2 million in Bitcoin. And Jeremy Hogan, who was covering the lawsuit the entire way alongside us and other channels, he's saying why? The only thing that makes any sense is that the sender is flushing Satoshi out. Under the new IRS rule, you have to report any receipt of crypto over 10K. So Satoshi has to dox himself or break the law. Do you guys think that that's the real reason? What's the reason for this? Is Satoshi buying more Bitcoin on exchanges and sending it to his own wallet? Or has Satoshi been BlackRock all along? Or is Satoshi somebody else? Kathy Wood just said this.
So to pry it out of the hands of these long-term holders, now that institutions are going to be given, we believe, the green light by the SEC, we hope and believe the next week, the price that they're going to demand, now that this asset is so scarce and and the push in from institutions. It won't happen all at once right away. There are lots of boxes to check and so forth. But I think the long-term holders understand there's a big buyer on the way here.
So to pry it from long-term holders' hands, that's what she just said. So that's their goal. They want to take your crypto from you. They don't want you to hold it. They want to, those are her words, pry it from your hands and put it in the hands of the big buyers. Who are the big buyers? Well, it's Blackrock, it's Fidelity, it's Van Eck. Now, the former head of the SEC, Jay Clayton, was just on this interview, and he just said this.
So it seems like there's kind of short-term pressure on the SEC in terms of the huge run-up in Bitcoin and the idea that if they don't approve this now, after all this expectation, a lot of people are going to lose their shirts in the Bitcoin markets. But there's also this sort of long-term concern about investor protection, right? Because if you talk about people investing their retirement funds now in a Bitcoin ETF, and Bitcoin has been such a wildly volatile item out there, these huge epic swings that you don't see in other asset classes, you talk about people maybe losing their retirement funds in the long run. So how do you balance those two things as the SEC looking at this, on a Friday night in early January?
Well, Lehman, let me talk about the SEC's role here. And what I would say is the three things the SEC felt that they had to get right before they approve it. And, approval is not certain, but I've said that approval this week is not certain, but I believe approval eventually is inevitable.
It feels like
what do they
it's
have to get
coming,
right? It's coming.
Yeah.
What do they have to get? The disclosure has to be right, okay, so that people understand what they're buying. The second thing is the underlying trading market has to be efficacious. It has to be of a quality that manipulation, the type of just bad behavior that you don't want to see in an underlying trading market is eliminated or at an acceptable minimum. And then lastly, and this is very important here with the digital asset, the pipes have to work. The product itself, the custody, the create, the redemption. Kate talked about authorized participants and the arbitrage and how this product actually functions. That has to work. So the SEC has to have gotten comfortable that all those things are going to function as they should. I've said many times when I was chair of the SEC, I was concerned about that underlying Bitcoin trading market. So, I think we've gotten past that. On your question about investors, I rarely give investment advice. I don't know whether Bitcoin's going to be worth a lot or a little. I will say this. This is a speculative, volatile asset. No good investment advisor or broker dealer would tell you to put a substantial portion of your investment assets into a single volatile or speculative asset.
You say that, Jay, I'm sorry to interrupt. You say that, but somebody will, right? I mean, somebody out there in the financial advisor world will say, you know what, you want to make some money in your retirement funds, get into this, it's going to expand, and somebody's going to lose their shirt, right? I mean, that's just the nature of markets.
And let me just say this. I would hope that no broker dealer or investment advisor registered with the SEC would tell somebody to put all their chips in the Bitcoin basket.
So a few key things there. Number one, he says it's inevitable. So if the ETFs get delayed over the next few days, well, eventually they'll get approved. So why are you stressing out in the short term? It doesn't matter, right? Of course, if you're trying to catch a better entry point, then you need some dry powder on the sidelines to be able to back up the truck for the dip if they get delayed, because then that would inevitably lead to a short-term sell-off. But we're just starting this bull run. As you guys can see right here, we're just barely out of the lows. And sure, crypto's rallied significantly in 2023, and we're bound for a cool-off period, which is coming shortly after these ETFs. As I guys shared with you in a previous video, when the gold ETF, first gold ETF in 2004 was approved, we had like 2 weeks where the markets rallied another maybe 5-6%, and then they crashed 20%, consolidated sideways for an extended period of time, then took off after that. So in the short term, yes, it's going to be volatile, but in the long term, eventual ETF approval is virtually guaranteed. Obviously not 100%, but virtually guaranteed based on what everyone's saying on the elite level. They want this, and so why would BlackRock be diving in to get an ETF approved if they don't at least have some pull to get that approval to happen? Now, Bitcoin was never the one, according to Edward Farina. XRP Ledger is 57,000 times more efficient than Bitcoin. Climate Crypto Accord, the CCA, supported by Ripple, aims to achieve net zero emissions for the entire crypto industry and all of the world's blockchain to be powered by 100% renewable energy by 2025. And Ripple has a partnership with the United Nations to develop a carbon credit solution to issue NFTs, which is tokenized carbon credits. So listen carefully to BlackRock CEO on what he has to say and also listen to what Kevin O'Leary has to say about Bitcoin.
This rally is way beyond the rumor. I think the rally today is about a flight to quality, whether that is in treasuries, gold, or crypto, depending on how you think about it. And I believe crypto will play that type of role as a flight to quality.
4 vectors of regulation happening right now and happening very quickly. Number one, the Loomis bill. We've talked about it already. Going through a bipartisan group of senators and congressmen to be tabled in the months ahead. Does not deal with NFTs. Number two, the SEC is contemplating auditing carbon. Now, you may think that has nothing to do with crypto, but it does, because the granddaddy of crypto is Bitcoin mining. And for most institutions that wanted a proxy to Bitcoin pricing, they couldn't buy Bitcoin. So what they did is they bought the shares of public Bitcoin companies. Marriott, I guess Hive, I'll give you some of the ones that are indexed in the US. Marathon, Hive, Hut 8. Those are the kind of stocks you could own, and they traded in almost perfect correlation to the price of Bitcoin. However, they all use carbon offsets to say that they're carbon neutral. Well, if you read the tea leaves of the SEC ruling or contemplation, and that's the number two vector, number three is the president's own executive order, which talked about climate change, which was a direct swipe at Bitcoin mining. And then lastly, you've got the Larry Fink Blackrock letter that is against anything to do with hydrocarbons. And so all of a sudden, if you have to audit the carbon credit, these companies aren't clean anymore, because there's no way to audit a ledger-based carbon credit versus the offset of how much electricity you're using from a carbon source. So this is a bad news for Bitcoin.
And good news for XRP. So the writing is on the wall. We just need to break out of this macro symmetrical triangle that XRP has been in for the past few years. And so if ETFs are denied, obviously the whole entire altcoin market cap goes down in the short term. And as you guys can see, this head and shoulders pattern on the RSI, we saw the left shoulder right here in the beginning of October. The head was in the 5th of November. The right shoulder was here in the 7th of December, and we just broke this support. And now the RSI for XRP is down to 31 on the daily. So in the micro, sure, it's frustrating to see XRP's price, back down to 54, 55 cents right now. But in terms of the macro, on the daily, that's a great time to consider backing up the truck. Again, I'm not going to tell you when to buy or when to sell XRP, but in the long term, guys, this project is going to do amazing things. Clearly not going away. If XRP wasn't needed for Ripple as a company, why would they spend over $200 million to fight the SEC for XRP? Why would they do that? They would just say, yeah, we don't need it because we have all of our other institution products to benefit the banks and the World Economic Forum and the United Nations and over in Europe and, the Federal Reserve or whoever they're working with behind the scenes in their payment task force. They would just abandon XRP. Clearly they didn't. So that tells us something. And there might be some NDAs and stuff that they've signed behind the scenes that is not allowed to tell us peons at the bottom of the pyramid what's really going on. But clearly at the top, something is happening. And what we are doing to prepare is backing up our truck all the way to the bank, grabbing the bags, packing them, stacking them, leaving no bags left behind because we believe the spending power of the dollar is going to continue to go down in value. Well, that's been a fact since the dollar was created, and even more of a fact since 1971 when Nixon took the dollar off the gold standard and started backing it to the petrodollar and backing it to credit card debt. And now how much debt is the nation in? How much credit card debt are you in watching this video? If you're in a bunch of credit card debt, give this video a like. Let's see how much debt we can run up on the like button right there, because the United States is sure going to run it up more than we could ever even imagine. We just passed $34 trillion, guys. 34 trillion. How's that even possible? When I was in high school, we were at like $7 trillion. What's gonna happen when, I'm 60, 70 years old? Is the debt gonna be 100 trillion? Where's that money flowing into? They're just trying to print it into their own pockets is what they're doing. So they print money, put it back in their own pockets by pumping up the big tech stocks. And hey, if they're going to pump up crypto, if crypto is manipulated, you might as well become wealthy by discovering our top altcoin picks and get early bird access to our financial education platform first when that's released. You don't need any crypto trading experience. All you need to do, go to bullrunners.com. Put in your email address. It's free. You get instant access to our free Telegram group. You get subscribed to our daily video newsletter so you can receive these videos first before the algorithm pushes them to you, because by the time that they're researched, recorded, edited, uploaded, and distributed, it's too late. So you need to get this information first. And Also, guys, we have some exciting updates dropping in our Telegram group very, very soon. So plug in with that in the description below. I will see you on the next video. I also will see you on the beaches of the moon and on bullrunners.com. As always, you know what to do. Stay bullish.